Hi everyone. Basically, a quick tying of a bloodworm with a bead. Now, it was a question I got asked. Basically, I'm filling a box of patterns that I used to fish when I ran a trout fishery many years ago in the 90s and early 2000s. And I had certain patterns that did fish well for me, mini lures or whatever you want to call them, so wee patterns like these, which I'm tying. We've got the white, that's the black, sorry, and then we've got the white, kind of wee mini humies as we call these. Damsels, we've got the damsel patterns, small ones, different colours, brown, dark olive, and golden olive. That one's a golden olive. But we did fish, I did have one or two bloodworm patterns. Not so much one with a bead, though I did tie a couple. I used to tie them for the fishery. And the type of pattern, I'll just get one here that's drying, is very simple. This is one here. And basically the question I got asked was, did I fish bloodworms with beads and so on? And in a way I did, like, but these patterns are, I mean, they're very trigger point. And the movement in these bloodworm patterns, I think half the time took the fish rather than them feeding on bloodworm. But it was a good bloodworm pattern, like, it certainly, and it works in the river. I mean, geez, you've no idea. Now it's mainly the question, as I say, was about the bead. How do I get, say, like a Flexi Floss or something to give the movement, the bloodworm, and normally Flexi Floss is used a lot. So anyway, this is obviously red. You can tie them in different colours. I mean, well, red's obviously, everybody recognises, hence the name bloodworm, so it'd be red. So what I do is I get a piece of nylon, this is just a fine piece of nylon, got the bead on, so the bead's on the hook, I'm using the white gape hook. It's actually to suit this bead, I mentioned what I'm using. Short shank special, size 12, from Full Mill obviously. This is a small 2.4mm bead. There you go. Now, to be honest with you, this size, it needs to be like a medium wire hook. Obviously in the bigger size, if you're using a thicker wire, you probably need to go maybe a 2.8, which is a wee bit obviously heavier, not much, but it's a wee bit heavier. And it goes round the bend much easier. But the 2.4 I've found, especially the painted beads, this one, you're better to use a medium wire hook, which is fine because that's what I used. It's a nice open wire, this one, the short shank special. Now, I've got a length of nylon, sorry, quite simple. All I do is put it through, double it up obviously, so we've got a loop in the other side, you can see there. It could pull through no problem, so I would say I want to double it up. I want either two in front of the bead and two lengths in the front and two in the back. So I just put the length through and I just pull to the length I want. So that looks about right. It's quite simple, that's how I do it. So, and then you can put it either side of the bead. But what I like to do as well is just at the eye here, just tiny wee bit of super glue, just right at the eye. I'll just show you. Just there, just a wee bit. Slide it up, and then I usually bring the Flexi Floss down either side, so it separates. Just leave it at the moment. Lengthwise at the back, again, it's up to yourself. You can trim it to suit yourself. So usually balance it up, much like the front. Now, obviously, that's not good enough to hold it. So I'm just going to you can use a yellow thread or a fire orange. It's up to yourself. It suits the bead. Now, the painted bead's a fluorescent orange, so the fire orange would suit it a wee bit. I like you can be red or it could be whatever colour. A bead, it could be a standard colour bead, metallic, it could be whatever. So what you do is you just simply come over, 3 or 4 turns. Keep a hold of the waist, don't let it go. And then at this point you just make sure down either side of the shank, it's slightly coming in itself. But what to do as well, to lock it in the turns, I usually just put super glue on the thread and wind, and then what finish. As long as there's enough there to hold it, it blocks the bead from coming away. It's locking in there, you can see it's starting to sort of set, so, and there we go. And then you just trim the front, and there, that's really it. Other than what I like to do is just a wee bit of varnish, even on the bead, all the way around, just to seal it. And there you go. And that's the easiest way to do the bead anyway. Once it's in the water, it obviously moves. It's very easy. It can be twitches. When you're fishing the river, it just bounces along and moves itself. I mean, there's obviously these rubber Flexi Floss moves it in its own manner. It's amazing in the water. You can have a double, triple strand if you want, but or even a single strand through. Some people just prefer a single, which I've used before as a single strand. But I tie it that same way. But that's how I do it. Simple way of doing a beaded bloodworm, or Flexi Floss bloodworm anyway. So hope you enjoyed that, and again, thanks for watching.